I'm going to talk about referrals as a way of finding coaching clients. There's all sorts of stuff around referrals to unpack. So, first of all, let me remind you that all successful businesses, coaching or otherwise, have two skill sets in equal measure. If they're going to be successful, they need them in equal measure. And those are, I think, best kind of shown as two sides of a weighing scale. On one side, all businesses have their product or service. So for us, that's our delivery skills, our coaching skills. And on the other side, and equally important, are the skills we need to create the opportunities to do the delivery. So to find the clients, the customers who are going to buy our product or service. Now, if you don't have clients, you don't have a business. That's actually, I know that can be a hard truth. I know that can be a hard truth, and I'm sorry if I'm talking to you, but accepting it as reality means that you can move on, whereas kind of getting stuck in the, oh, well, I'm running my business when you don't have any clients, it's not a good use of your time. So let's talk about referrals and why they top the hierarchy of client acquisition. We are taught that if our coaching's good enough, our clients will find us. Now, that particular phrase, if your coaching's good enough, your clients will find you, was said by a coach trainer, somebody who's now an MCC. She said that to a group of coaches who were graduating from coach training. I don't believe she said it out of badness. I believe she said it because that was her experience. And the reason that it was her experience is that she will have been one of those monetizable credibility coaches that I talk about. So the small group of coaches, less than 1 in 5, who have a network of people before they come to coaching, before they start to train to become a coach. So it's usually a network of people that they've built up over a stellar corporate career. And when I say corporate, it could be public sector, it could be charities, but they've been reasonably senior in a large organization or a large-ish organization, and they have a good reputation because of their work prior to ever coming to becoming a coach. Now, those coaches can open their little black book and go and have the good conversations that we're told are all we need, and they can find clients because the people that they're having conversations with already know, like, and trust them, already hold them in high esteem, and probably understand what our kind of coaching is, which is very unusual. There's just a few at the top, at the upper echelons of corporate. I tend to call organizations corporate, but at the upper echelons of organizations, they do know what our kind of coaching is. The majority of the rest of the world does not. So this coach has a privilege. Now, I don't mean, oh, they got lucky. They earned that privilege. But like all privileges, it's very hard to see when it's yours. And this trainer who said, if your coaching's good enough, your clients will find you, will have opened her little black book. She will have gone and had good conversations with people who were senior enough to be budget holders and be able to commission coaching from her. And then more work will have come on the back of that original work. Oh, do you know what Lucy's doing now? She's coaching, and Lucy already has this amazing reputation, and they know what coaching is. And so it seems like, you just need your first client or two and the rest will come by referral. And that couldn't be further from the truth for most of us. Now, let me reiterate that Lucy, not her real name, wasn't being disingenuous when she said, if your coaching's good enough, your clients will find you. That's her lived experience. What she doesn't realize is it's not the lived experience of the majority. So the reason that referrals sit so high at the top of the hierarchy of client acquisition is because if you're good enough, you'll get all the referrals you need. Now, I've heard really clever people say, oh, you just need your first client or two and the rest will come by referral. Really clever, capable, excellent coaches who have zero idea of how client acquisition works. I don't know if you have had the experience. I've seen this fairly regularly where a group of coaches will band together to form like a little associate company, and somebody will say, hey, why don't we get together, and we're all good coaches and we can we can provide coaching services for X, Y, and Z companies, but they don't have any way of finding those clients. And they tend to sort of drop to bits really after a while when the clients just don't appear. So the reason that it's top of the hierarchy is because it's all about your wonderful coaching. Now, let's talk about the reality for the rest of us and what a referral really is and why actually they're not the top of the list. They're actually quite far down it. One of the things that we as a whole profession are really poor at is articulating the value of coaching in a way that non-coaches can assimilate. That sentence, being able to articulate the value of coaching in a way that non-coaches can assimilate, that is what marketing is. That's it. We are very poor at it as a whole profession. If you ask coaches what they do and what clients get out of working with them, they sit on this side of the weighing scales and they use what I call coach speak. So we talk in our own jargon and we describe the process and we talk about breakthroughs and we talk about limiting beliefs and mental barriers and goals and stuff that ordinary people don't really talk about, because a limiting belief, let's face it, until the instant that you realize that something that you believe to be true is not true, until that moment it isn't a limiting belief from your perspective, it's simply reality. It's like the dome in the Truman Show, if you remember that Jim Carrey film. It wasn't until his boat hit the dome that he realized that his reality wasn't what he thought it was. And so it is for our clients. So, you help people remove limiting beliefs. Well, I don't have any, says a client who doesn't understand. If we can't articulate the value of what we do in a way that non-clients can assimilate, why do we think that our clients will be able to do that? Why do we think that somebody who's gone through a coaching program with us will then be able to describe what happened for them in a way that makes somebody else feel compelled to pay a professional fee? The truth is that they most often don't. Sometimes they do, but most often they don't. Which brings me to the problem with referrals, or hoping that all of your business is going to be referral business. So number one, the word hope. Hope is not a marketing strategy. Hope's not really a strategy for anything to do with business. Hoping somebody's going to give you a referral or hoping referrals are going to come means that you're hoping, and also you don't have any control at all over referrals. You can ask for them, but you don't have any control over when they arrive. Now, when referrals do arrive, that's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. But referrals are really the icing on the cake of your robust client acquisition process, because they are clients who come without any real effort on your part. But if you're starting from scratch, referrals come in year 2 or 3. They don't come on day 1. And coaches that I've spoken to who've coached people pro bono in the hope that that person will go, gosh, that was a wonderful experience, let me refer somebody to you. And they're hoping they're going to refer somebody who's now going to pay them a professional rate. And the truth about coaching people for free is that if they do refer somebody to you, it's often somebody who also wants coaching for free. So whilst referrals are lovely, and whilst some coaches appear to get them with ease, there is a reason for that, and it's the privilege. It's the fact that they've got their little black book of contacts who know, like, and trust them, and who already understand what our kind of coaching is. And so when you see people saying, you see coaches saying, oh, well, all my work comes by referral, it makes everybody else feel bad because they think, well, how is that working for her when it isn't working for me? And the truth is, you're starting from different places. You know, your starting point to build your coaching business is completely different. And you have a long way to go to catch up to the level of know, like, and trust within your audience that that coach already had when they started training. Does that make sense? So to recap, this morning's live stream is going to be quite a short one, it turns out. Referrals are lovely. Some people will get them because their network already knows, like, and trusts them, or more, should I say, they have a network, a little black book of people who know, like, and trust them, understand what our kind of coaching is, and can commission coaching from them. Referrals for those of us who do not have that little black book, they will come, but they come much later. Because first of all, we need to choose an audience. We need to curate that audience. We need to demonstrate quite clearly that we understand the problem that they're struggling with, that we understand how much it's impacting their lives. It might be impacting their work life, their home life, their relationships, even their health potentially. We need to be able to demonstrate that we know how the problem that they have shows up in their life, and we need to demonstrate that we know what outcome they are looking for. And what I've just described is a good marketing message. I suppose the bit to add to that marketing message is we know where they are, we know what they're struggling with, we know what outcome they're looking for, and we can help them get there. That's the marketing message. And in doing that, we can build credibility with our audience too. But we're starting here on the credibility, and those with monetizable credibility are starting at a completely different place. And, you know, you see these memes, don't compare your chapter 1 with somebody else's chapter 20. It's that. They put the hard yards in, if you like, over their career, building that reputation. And not all of us have been fortunate enough to be able to do that. So are referrals great? Yes. Can you rely on them? Most of us can't, because we have, well, all of us have zero control over them. We don't know when a referral is going to happen. And having a robust way of finding clients is a much, much better process for us, so that when referrals do come, they're wonderful and they're the icing on the cake. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to talk about how we build that credibility. So I'll go into a bit more detail about that. If any of these live streams have piqued your interest and you're thinking, do you know what, I might actually like to know a bit more about this, I'll share a link around this video for you to sign up to my Nail Your Niche challenge. It runs from the 7th to the 10th of September. It is not going to demand an enormous amount of your time. It's mostly thinking as much as anything else. It's free, and it's a really vibrant, dynamic few days with a bunch of coaches. And by the end of it, you will know where your profitable niche sits. The link will be in the post and in the comments. See you tomorrow.